All right. It's been a hot minute. Been a long year. We're rushing around quite a bit this year. Ran to that last race and figured I owed you guys an update. A few of y'all that actually follow the channel. But all in all, we had a great year. Set a lot of personal bests basically across the board with the car. Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of racing going on, regardless of win, lose, draw, whatever. We had a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time. Spent a lot of money. And tail end of the year at that bragging rights import mania, we ran the street car shootout. Day one we qualified number one, and then went back in it. And day two, I think we ended up something like fourth. I want to say ended up finishing fourth. I think fourth or fifth on qualifier number two. But we ended up winning round one against Adam. But in the process, for those of y'all who aren't friends with me on Facebook, we blew up the 408. We destroyed the motor. Rod number one decided to exit the block and become an astronaut. So we ended up blowing up the 408 on our round one win against Adam. We had gone 5-0 and 8-0. We were just starting to lean into the ramp and bringing it in a little sooner. As you can see, big girl's back here up on the lift, getting things ready for the off season. As we got quite a bit to do now that the motor popped. Here I'll switch around. Here's the 408 block. As you can see, that nose supposed to be there. Popped there, as well as giant one on this side. So it busted through both sides of the block and popped through the oil pan as well. As you can see, tore up. That's cylinder number one. Got ate up. And it snapped the rod, basically yanked the wrist pin right out of the piston. And here's what's left over. 7 rods and what's left of that one. Everything else in the car torn apart. Camshaft, it nicked it a little bit. See, basically right there. That ate up that cam. Not that the cam's gonna go back in the motor anyway, but basically everything's pulled off. Everything's laying over here on the floor, waiting for the new engine setup for the car. As you can see, we got the whole front end off the car. We're starting to pull it apart, and we got some upgrades that are gonna have to happen on the new motor. We got to send that converter off back to Pete over at Circle D. We're going to be swapping stators and for the new motor, because the one we have in there now is not going to be what we're looking to have on that new motor we're getting built. And we're going to pull the fuel pump. I don't know if you guys even know, but I run the Aeromotive 7-gallon on mine. So that's been in there for 3 solid years, running both high and low speed drag and drives, E85 getting beat to death, and I have not had a single problem out of the thing once. But being that it's been 3 years, it's been in there, and we're putting a new motor in it. Not going to be continuing to use it in hopes that there's no issue. So we're pulling that out. We're going to send that back to Aeromotive for a refresh to make sure it's ready to go. The reason I'm pulling the front ends or the front end, rear bumpers, hood, basically all the body parts I can get off to make life easier, we're gonna pull off, and she is finally gonna match all the same shades of red. Will no longer be 50 shades of red on the Dart. As you can see right here, you can look, it's blatantly obvious, 2 different shades of red here, and then, excuse all the oil down the side. When that thing let go, it made sure that rust building up on the chassis was not going to be a concern this off season. But the car, she got a respray, I want to say 15-ish or so years ago. way back before I bought it. And then we've added the bumpers. We added the hood separately at different points in time. It's the only thing on the car that's not original as far as body goes is the bumpers and the hood. Everything else on there is original, all steel, all glass. But it's all going to get resprayed. Torch red from the C7 Corvettes. So everything's going to get done. My buddy Casey is going to take care of that. If you have been following, you know that there was a big earlier in the year. And this side over here was actually leaned over 2.5 degrees, where we took this up to Mizell's and had them put this thing on a frame machine, and now we are good to go. We're going to be switching things up and going to a mid plate as well as a front plate, so we're going to be running both of those. And that's also one of the things we have to get done on that converter is they're going to have to add a little bit of length to it. We're going to go to I think an 1/8 inch steel mid plate on top of what we already got, and that should strengthen that thing up in the middle a little bit. And we also have to, I got to pull the dash out inside, and we're going to be welding in that last bar I need running right across underneath the dash so we can certify this thing to 750. That's the bulk of what we're doing. Other than that, there's nothing too crazy. We're still going to keep the same intake. We're still going to keep same transmission, same rear end. We're going to swap gear, we're going to change gear oils. I'm going to be taking on my fuel lines. I have a 12 coming in here and the filter. I'm going to put new filters, pre and post filters on it, and then it goes to a 10 on this side, and this 10 over here runs all the way up to the firewall. Being that the new motor is going to be breathing a little bit more, making a little more oomph, the 10 comes all the way up here to a Y. It comes all the way up here to a Y, and then it goes off into, here we go. It comes off to this Y right here, and then it takes that 10 after this filter and it runs it up to 2 8s that go up to fuel rails. So on the new one, I'm going to be remaking all of that. We're just going to have a 10s all the way around. So it's going to go 10s. It's going to go basically a 10 from fuel pump all the way up to the rails, and then it's going to be a 10 return all the way to the trunk, because we had an 8 return on it before. But with the horsepower rating on the new motor, and I'm of the rather have it not need it than need it not have it mindset. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We may have to do some tweaking now that we straightened out this frame rail on this side. We may have to do some slight tweaking back to Maven mounts. We may have to move that over just a hair to get fitment right on this side, but passenger side should be perfectly fine once we go through everything back together. We're not changing anything as far as shocks goes, tires go, literally nothing else. I think that what I will be doing is I'll be taking that NRG seat out of there, since it's just a regular kind of plain Jane seat, and I'm going to put me a containment seat in there, since now I am it'd be nice to have. It may be a little bit more of a pain on the street, but I think it's what it needs, especially for if something were to go wrong down track, tag the wall or something. I'd rather have extra safety than not enough. Definitely gotta get a new diaper, because that engine diapers, as big of a pain in the butt as they are, and as much as people complain and whine and cry about having to have them, had that thing not been in there, all that would have went underneath that passenger side front tire, passenger side rear tire, and then probably put me in the wall about 150, 160 miles an hour. So I am very much appreciative to Motion Raceworks for making that, because it did a hell of a job catching everything that came out. And I will damn sure be putting another one to wear a belly pan on it for the next race season. Other than that, that's kind of it. I hope everybody enjoys the update. We'll be getting some more together as progress goes along. We do have We do have this new to me 1989 little YZF 200. That's going to get cleaned up and probably get painted to match the dark too. And that's going to be our run around the racetrack vehicle whenever we got to get to drivers meetings and stuff and I don't feel like walking. So that's the latest update. You guys will be seeing a lot more once we get there. And I'll try and match this up with some videos from the actual bragging rights race. You can kind of see what was going on, and they'll be right after this. All right, thanks guys. Hey, here we are. This is where we're talking about going down to Street and Yeet, getting teched in with Devin and them. Him and his wife put on a heck of an event. We made a few passes there for day one, and A to B passes, consistent 5.4s, 5.5s the whole time down the track. Had issues pretty much the entire week with building boost off the starting line. Air down there in South Carolina, Georgia, around that time was a little worse than what I was expecting, a little thicker than it is up there where we race typically at Rockingham or Dinwiddie or Outer Banks Dragway. But you know, we made do. We left out of Shady Side, went down to Greer. You know, Shady Side and Greer, both tracks I've never been at before. So it was interesting. Definitely a learning week for me personally. Trying to kind of going out on my own, not calling people up, trying to help out with tunes. But this truck right here is really cool. It's crazy to watch this and then think, you know, a second and a half isn't really a long time, but when you look at these, you know, I went a 5.5 on this one, and the Suburban with the canoe on the top went a 7.0. You wouldn't think that'd be a whole lot until you see the visual representation here of how big a difference that is in the 8th mile. And you know, I'm not fast by any means, and he's not slow by any means, but that's the difference between a second and a half in the 8th mile, which is wild. That first pass there, I think shoe didn't open in time. I ended up having to get my brakes pretty hard. Luckily, it opened up on time. The rest of the passes, but we found an issue with after this pass, before the second pass, we found an issue with the engine diaper tab on the Raceworks diaper. It was pressing up against the number 8 spark plug, and it actually cracked the boot. So when it was trying to fire number 8 cylinder, it was arcing off of the back of the motor plate tab, or not motor plate tab, but the engine diaper tab, and that's what was causing it. You can hear it a little bit in this video when I get up to the two-step. You can kind of hear it start to come up, and then it kind of flattens out and starts to spit and sputter. You'll hear when I start to bump in. You can kind of hear the difference there. You know, we still made a decent A to B pass. It was a 5.43. Again, not what I should have been running with my tune-up, because it run a whole lot faster up north than it was running down south. We were about 4 to 5 tenths off coming down south compared to what it runs up here. So that was a little bit off for me. Basically, that was the story of the entire week. We rolled out of Greer, you know, headed down to Augusta, Georgia for the Carolina Dragway race. You know, wife's got to have that Starbucks. And then here was out of Carolina Dragway, another track I've never been to, never seen, never had any experience with. Again, oh, also forgot to mention Corey, Spooled Media. If you guys haven't checked out his page, he films and just spends all kinds of time putting stuff together for all of us people who like to race, and anyone who's an automotive enthusiast. So check out his channel, give him a subscribe. You'll see him all over the place sharing videos and stuff for everybody. Here again, that Falcon was a really nice car. We were running similar times all week, but just couldn't get it to build the boost off the starting line, and we were losing a tenth and a half, almost 2 tenths to 60 foot. So when you lose that much on the hit, your ET out the back's not going to be the same. But still a good race between me and that Falcon.
Robert is 1/1000th of a second behind him right now. So Richard Kinnison looking to get away from Robert and try to
Again,
overtake.
you lose that much on the hit, you're not going to be able to pick it back up normally. And yeah,
Nice
that's
side-by-side
bad.
pass.
He had a
Like I
bad
said,
ride,
looks
that's
like
for
it's
sure. That was one of
546,
my favorite cars
consistent
there.
as it can get.
Between
Left
him and
side,
Stevens'
536.
blue Chevelle,
So the
I think
approach, another
were probably my two favorite off the wall ones, and then
just a little bit slower than he wants.
Tracy's wagon, of
Is he
course.
going to take that and hit the road?
After Carolina, we got to stop by Momentum Performance, see Nate and the Bragging Rights crew. We stayed the night down there, and then we headed out the next morning to go back to Shady Side, where we stopped by the little coffee and ice cream place. And then we got back there, I decided to talk to Devin when we got back to Shady Side and kind of pick his brain a little bit on what it takes to build boost off the starting line in that, chewy, thick South Carolina, Georgia area. And he had given me a little bit of basic advice, something I hadn't thought about doing, and changed some things up on the fueling and the timing, and timing being pulled where we're pulling it, where we're putting it back in, and it seemed to work instantly, of course. So, in building more boost on this one, this was our last hit for the event. We built more boost, which in turn made it leave harder, which carried the front end, and then it went slow. It picked up a little bit to the 60 foot, but not much. But doing the wheelie is going to make it end up going a little bit slower than it. But this was against the number 2 unlimited guy, I think. And then I think I was 8th or 9th for the event, if I remember right. But that Chevelle was a bad unit. Night and completely different class, completely different level car than what I'm running. But that thing was extremely nice. But I was glad to live and learn a little bit here. I got to enjoy the week racing with my wife, and learn a little bit on the tuning side of things. And it's kind of what it is. Enjoy the experience, enjoy the drive, and take it and keep moving forward with it, and build the program up a little bit better. But Devin and them, Street Neat crew, did a heck of a job. Here you go.
Not going to do that real fast, but Bell needs a lot to get in striking distance here.
Yeah, that was the last race. We didn't really see the need to beat on the car too much, seeing as we weren't really up close to the top. We weren't going to make it all up in one pass. We're not fast enough for that to make up that big a difference. Running 4 or 5 tenths off of what we should be running on that tune-up. Didn't really make sense to beat on, especially when we had a 7-hour drive home. But it was me and the wife. We had a blast. We loved it, and appreciate all the crew down there shooting. It starts the update on the Bragging Rights event. We went down there for the streetcar shootout portion. We did a 55, 60-mile drive for the streetcar side, stopping all around that area, and then went straight into Q1 here. This is my Q1 pass that night. Luckily, sometimes we catch it in time, like on that one I caught it, brought it back down, and ran a nice 816 out the back, 168. With a wheelie and catching it, I was happy with that. We didn't break nothing, was able to go down there. We got pictures there, and then we ended up sitting number 1 after Q1. And then made some chassis changes, went into Q2, kept the front end down with a little bit quicker, basically on the same tune-up. We didn't really change the ramp. I had a really long ramp in there, just to make sure it was going A to B. And then here was the final pass where we ended up blowing the motor. We brought the ramp in quite a bit quicker, but again, number 1 rod went out the side, and luckily engine diaper did his job. We ended up winning that round 1 there, and we never even got to make it to round 2. Unfortunately, because first pair down on round 2 ended up taking out the electronics in the tree, and they basically shut down the entirety of the event. So that was the closeout for me for the year. Thank you guys for following the channel. If you got any questions, comments, please throw them in there. I do have a new motor being built. Not going to get into the details on that quite yet, but you can look for the first event of the year being down there at Bragging Rights in April down at Rockingham Dragway. And then we should be going up to either Drop the Hammer up in Michigan or possibly the Bragging Rights Sick Week Streetcar Takeover event down there at Beach Bend Raceway, I think. So appreciate you guys keeping up. That was 2020, the end of 2025 in a wrap, and can't wait to see what 2026 holds in store. Thanks. Have a happy new year.